Welcome back, fourth grade mathematicians. Today we are going to continue our unit on exploring factors and multiples. Let's start by looking at our learning target. I can identify factors and factor pairs for numbers 1 to 100 using equal groups, arrays, and a hundreds chart. You may be asking yourself, what are factors and factor pairs? Factors are whole numbers that can evenly divide another number. And factor pairs are two numbers that we multiply together to get a certain product. I'm going to be teaching you 3 different ways that you can find factors and factor pairs today. Factors give us a way to break down a number into smaller pieces. We're going to look at the number 12 to begin with today. We can arrange dots into equal-sized groups to help us picture the factors for a number. Over here to the side, I have just a group of dots. I want you to help me think about a way that I could create an equal-sized group of those 12 dots. What might it look like? Maybe it would look like this. This represents one group of 12. If I wrote that as a multiplication equation, it would look like this. 1 times 12 equals 12. I want to make sure that you understand the vocabulary from the previous page when we're looking at an example. So here I have 1, that is a factor. I'm multiplying it by 12, which is another factor, and I'm getting a product of 12. The factor pairs are the two numbers that I multiply together to get the product. So my factor pairs are 1 and 12. I like to organize my thoughts using a T-chart when I'm working with factors and factor pairs. So I'm going to write my factor pairs in this T-chart. Take about 5 seconds and see if you can think of another way that I could arrange the dots into an equal-sized group of 12. Maybe yours look like this. This would be 2 groups of 6. One thing I want you to think about when you're looking at your equal-sized groups is that they come in pairs. One factor is the number of rows. In this example, it would be 2. And the other factor in the factor pair is the number of dots in each row, which would be 6. If I put these two numbers with my vocabulary terms up here, I would have 2 as my first factor times 6 equals 12. And my factor pairs, I know, are 2 and 6. We're going to do one more because there is one more factor pair for the number 12. Think about what it might look like. Could it look like this? Think in your head, what does this represent in equal groups? How many rows? If you said 3, you're correct. And then how many in each row? If you said 4, that would be correct too. So my factor pairs are 3 and 4. The last thing I want to do is to create a list of the factors of 12, and I'm going to create that list with the numbers in order from least to greatest. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. So the first strategy that I've taught you today is to arrange dots into equal-sized groups to find the factors of a number. The second strategy that I'm going to teach you is using an area model. Multiplication can be shown to create an area model, and it can help us when we're trying to find the factors of a number. So if I look at this array, or area model, excuse me, I have 1 as a factor, and I'm multiplying it by, how many do I have here? I have 16 squares, so 1 times 16 equals 16. So I have my T-chart here again, and I'm going to write my first factor pair, 1 and 16. There is another area model that I could create for 16? What do you think it would look like? Could it look like this? What does this represent? This would be 2. And if I'm finding the area, I'm multiplying by how many I have here. How many? I have 8. So my factors are 2 and 8. So my factor pair is 2 and 8. I think there is one more that we could model using our area. Maybe this is it. This would represent 4 and 4, with my factors being 4. Because 4 times 4 equals 16. So once again, I'm going to list my factors in order from least to greatest. 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16. Notice that I did not write the 4 twice. When we're listing factors of a number, we do not repeat any numbers that might occur more than one time. Our last strategy is going to be using a hundreds chart. And before we do this, we need to review what you learned a few days ago about multiples. Remember that multiples are numbers that result when we multiply one whole number by another whole number. So for example, the multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, and 12, because 3 times 1 equals 3, 3 times 2 equals 6, 3 times 3 equals 9, and it keeps going. One thing hopefully you noticed from our other 2 strategies and examples is that 1 was always a factor, and the number that we were trying to find the factor for is a factor as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start my T-chart with 1, and the factor we're looking for is 21. So I already know 1 factor pair. I'm going to go to my hundreds chart now, and I'm going to put a dot on the number 21 because that's the number we're trying to find the factors for. And I'm going to start by trying to find the multiples of 2 to see if it might be a factor of 21. So I'm going to skip count by 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You can count with me, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. Now what I noticed at this point is I did not put a marker on 21. So that should tell me that 2 is not a factor of 21. I'm going to go to the next number, which is 3, and I'm going to put a mark on all of the numbers that are multiples of 3 by skip counting. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. All right, so now that I have a marker on the number that I was looking for, that tells me that 3, because I was skip counting by 3, is a factor of 21. And the other factor, I don't know right now, but I can figure it out by counting how many times I skip counted. So you can count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 is the other factor pair that would go with 3. Wrapping up today, let's look back at our learning target. I can identify factors, factor pairs for numbers 1 to 100 using equal groups, arrays, and a hundreds chart. Now you will try some problems on your own. If you need extra support, please watch the video again, stop and rewatch as needed. If you still need support, please reach out to your teacher. I hope you have a great day.